Kevin, how disappointing was the end of the first half when it seemed like maybe y'all were trying to drain the clock or go to the halftime and end up punting with 29 seconds? It's blocked.
Yeah, it was, the last minute and 36 seconds, right? So 14 points in that time, it was a game changer. But even with that, you still got a whole nother half to play. And, we talked about that at halftime and it being a one-possession game. But that's why I let it run down and call timeout and take some time out of it. They get the block for the touchdown. That was, that was disappointing, but you still got to have to play. And you still have plenty of time to do something about that, and we didn't respond.
Right side, Gabe.
Kevin, just a little more on that, just the mindset. If you could take us through the reason for the decision not to keep the gas on when you're just down one and Nick was playing really good. He was hot.
Well, we did. We attempted right there. We had a pretty good scheme going with him being hot, and we were able to run the ball. So we had a mixture of things. We attempted, we want to get things going with a first down because you're back on inside your own territory. The thought process is, hey, let's get something started here and go fast. But if not, on fourth down, I'll let the clock run down, call timeout, take the seconds off of it, and not give them a chance. But the block punt, that wasn't even a thought at that point that they were going to block a punt. Because that hasn't been an issue for us all year, and we've been pressured all year. So that wasn't anything we hadn't seen. It was really just a lack of execution based on their look, and and us not doing what we practiced that all week. So we had one bust in that, and in that situation that can't happen, but it did.
Goes the very back, Darryl Bruffett.
Coach, in terms of execution there, I think it was early in the fourth quarter. You had the fourth down call, and you couldn't get that in, and that would have made this the one-score game that you were trying to get to.
What's that? Couldn't get that in.
You said you couldn't – the fourth down call, you couldn't get the ball in the end zone, which would have made it the one-score game that you were looking for.
Yeah, and exactly.
To the right here, Christy.
Do you know yet what your plan for the quarterbacks is going forward?
Yeah, I think the backstory on this whole deal is probably more important than right now. When you're dealing with a young man with a broken ankle, which is what happened at UCLA, it takes some time. And, we go with our doctor's recommendation. And so during that time, it's, there's really no practice for him. I mean, you can't go out and get reps. We got some virtual reality stuff, but he's still not feeling that in live time. And so once he was cleared, there's also strength and conditioning and then getting reps. And I think what you've seen the last couple of weeks is, Nick's a little talking about Nick. He's rusty, but he's doing okay. He left the game today with the same, there was some pain there today, and it's the first time he's really felt that, and which was an issue. But got on the bike, walked around. He's all right. So. The growth process for him is not just you just don't pick up a football and just start throwing it again after being gone for a month and a half with an injury like that. So as I said, he was available a couple weeks ago. He was available in an emergency situation. As those weeks have gone by, he's practiced more, and obviously he has healed a lot more. So. We felt better with him playing. I think he's played. He was our starter to start the year. There wasn't any indecision in the last couple of weeks. It was all based on him being healthy, what he can do, and how he can do it. And obviously, today he played pretty good, all things considered. He took pretty good care of the football. Did we have any turnovers today? No.
No, sir.
So, the things that we emphasized, with this team and playing in these games with, we had 2 penalties and no turnovers. So, moving forward, I think he's earned back his spot, and we'll go down the road like that.
Second row here, Kirk.
Kevin, all the speculation about your future, how much does that weigh on you, and does it affect your team's performance in any way?
No.
Third row, Ben.
With all that being said about Nick, why did you decide to go with Kellen as the starter today?
What's that?
So with all that being said, with Nick and his recovery process coming back, why did you decide to start Kellen?
But Kellen has won a lot of games this year for him, for this team, and in places that on the road, and you earn. It doesn't matter who you are, you earn your spot, and with the way things were going today, with some based on decision making on the field, we made a change, and 3 weeks ago, I sat behind this microphone and everybody talked about how much Cullen was progressing. And so one game does not a career make last week. And he had earned he had earned the starting spot over the last 4 weeks by winning at Florida, by winning games and doing the things that he needed to do. So, we've seen a lot of different things in the last 4 weeks. And, it just felt like, based on the way things were going in the football game, just like any other position on our team, it was time to give somebody else a chance. And then, I think Nick took advantage of that today. If he had gone in there and not done what he had done, it might be a different story. But that's no different than, you saw us play some other guys today because Damian Ratley didn't play very well last week. Damian Ratley came back today and was Damian Ratley that he's been all year. And so, one game at any position doesn't, make your season as a player, and particularly at this level. And so, you give a guy a chance to show what he can do. Maybe it was a bad day, but today it wasn't going the right way, so we made a change. And same thing, like Damian today, he bounced back and was the Damian Ratley that he's been all year, except for a week ago.
Third row on the left, Sam.
Kevin, understanding that the games are all different and even the seasons are different, why has this team struggled to beat divisional opponents here in this building? Yeah,
that's a good question. I was talking with Gus before the game. He's like, well, it's just, in particular this game, we've never lost there and they've never lost here. So I don't know the answer to that. But it's certainly something that is probably the elephant in the room. But you take this series for example, it's just the opposite. And then I'm sure they asked him that question last year.
To the left side, Zach, and then Olin down front.
Coach over here on the left.
Yeah.
Travion with a big game running, but that 4th and 2 situation, was the defense showing you guys something that made you go with the pass in that 4th and 2 situation from the Auburn 4?
Yeah, they showed us something and they bluffed and came out of there. It's just, he had a big game. We had some big runs, I think, but we also had some 0 runs, and Keith got nicked up. That's where he was, got a shoulder in the middle of the game, came back and played. I thought that he made some really, really tough runs too for us. So, you know, it's 4th and 2 there. You know, you can either way. You know, that's you're in between play calls because you know it's 4th and 2, but it's not 4th and 2 in the middle of the field. It's 4th and 2 on the 6-yard line, and so you could get there could be different mentalities at that point. Does that make sense? So it's not just 4th and 2 out in the field. It's 4th and 2 at the 6-yard line where, you know, the safeties aren't going to be any deeper than they can't be further than 15 yards, and guys are down in there, and we really thought we'd have an opportunity to do some things, and I would say this too, you know, this is like the first pass Nick threw last week. Just came out of his hand real quick. You know, he wasn't used to the speed, but he, if I remember right, he looked right and then tried to flip around left, and they were in and out on Christian, and he just the pre-snap read was not a really good one by him, but you know, hindsight's always 20/20. Maybe you can run the ball there.
Down front, Olin, then Ben, you'll wrap us up.
Kevin, how much progress do you feel y'all have made to become the program that you and Aggies want this football program to be?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you know we've been up and down. To be honest with you, Olin. I mean, we've been up and down this year. I think that we've shown some good things and we've shown some not so good things. I think you know we've got a nucleus of really good young players that have played at times like young players, and you know, and you look at the things that you do as a coach, you know, and the things you emphasize, and there's some good things still. You know that how we did it is probably not what you want, but you know, you look at these guys, and you know, with the quarterbacks and the strength of being running backs, with you know Keith Ford's the only guy that's going to leave there. Christian had a pretty good day, and so did Ratley as the older guys. You know, but the young guys got to make some competitive plays. Defensively, I thought you know Terrell Dotson, would he have another double-digit tackle game?
14 tackles today.
Yeah, and you know we get an injury Friday. Thursday, it was Thursday, Friday, with Charles Oliver. We're down a corner. So, you know, we move Armani to nickel today because Charles and Antonio were, you know, basically out this week. So the adjustment with moving Armani to nickel probably moved some guys out in the middle of the field, and we gave up some big plays. And with you know, Keldrick and Derek Tucker back there, but they play a lot of football. But those guys are young and talented, and you know, and Renfro and I mean, I think I looked out there one time, and everybody but Armani out there was a true freshman in the secondary against a pretty experienced football team, and a good quarterback. So, I think, you know, it's. I think with these young guys, you know, they continue to grow, and I think the future's bright for them.
Right side, Ben, you'll wrap us up.
You know, Kevin, with this loss today, it guarantees that y'all win no more than 8 games in the regular season. You know, is it frustrating to be stuck on that mark for the last few years?
Yeah, you know, it is. You know, so, but you know, I can't. We're not going to, you know, live in that world. What we're going to live in is what we just talked about across the street. We're living in next week's world, and we can't, you know, look at, well, what's happened in the past. We can't look at what's going on besides next week with this football team. And I think these guys, particularly with the age of this team, you know, they do a lot better with week to week and dealing with things, you know, during that time. So for me and for us, we're talking about this week, and it's senior night. We got a lot of guys that have done a lot for this team. Some guys that are highly recruited, some guys that were never recruited, like Gillespie. And you know, we talked about you know what is that important right now, and that's, you know, playing for each other, staying together, and making senior night the best senior night it can be. And you know, other than that, you know, there's really no that's a real focus.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Coach.